Okay, so today we're going to talk about 7 mistakes your parents made that destroyed your growth as a child. 7 mistakes they made that ruined your growth as a child. And the first mistake is that they thought that providing food, clothing, shelter, your school supplies, and medical care when you're sick was the only thing that they needed to do as a parent. So basically, they neglected you emotionally. They emotionally neglected you. Maybe they forgot or they were unaware of your emotional needs. Your emotional needs are unconditional love, attention, affection, hugs, kisses, helping you create a routine so you don't forget stuff, so you could plan out your day the best way possible. They probably didn't give you support. You need support. You need to be understood. You need someone to reason with you, to have empathy for you. Other emotional needs could be you need to feel accepted for who you are. Not to change you, not to make you be like your parents, to make eye contact with you when you're talking to them, to respect you, to forgive you when you make a mistake, to communicate with you in a good manner, to trust you, to give you freedom to make some decisions and to guide you to make decisions. And also to make you know that they will always be there for you no matter what. And when you get these emotional needs met, you would have self-confidence, you would have a high self-esteem, and you would have a healthy emotional outlook on life. Now, if you didn't get these emotional needs met, so I'm going to just talk about how being emotionally neglected could affect you or affected you. How it affects us when we were neglected emotionally. Well, you could just get angry and aggressive. You could just be this angry and aggressive child. Or you could feel empty. You have feelings of emptiness. You're emotionally numb, you're apathetic, you just lack emotions and you're unable to express your emotions or talk about emotions. You might not even know what emotions you're feeling because you never talked about emotions with your parents or tried to express or discuss emotions and how to handle them, right? It could also affect you where you have a difficulty depending on others because you never felt like your parents was going to be there for you no matter what, right? You could also develop low self-esteem, self-doubt, doubting yourself constantly. You could develop imposter syndrome where there's just a chronic self-doubt, like no matter how much achievements you make, no matter how good you do in your academics, in sports, in music, or whatever you're doing, it's just like it's nothing to you. Right? You could also lack compassion for yourself. You lack understanding for yourself because your parents never understood you, reason with you, and talk about problems with you. So you get frustrated and angry easily with yourself. Another way it affects you, you feel guilty and you feel shame for your needs and for your feelings. Right? You feel guilty because you want attention. You feel shame because you feel like you want love and affection and somebody to show up for you. Right? Other things could happen is like you're easily overwhelmed and you give up really quickly because your parents weren't there for you to encourage you and talk with you and explain to you that sometimes things might not work out and you could go in this direction or you could do something else or you could just don't give up and keep trying. But then maybe they weren't there to tell you that, so you just give up easily. And you could also be extra sensitive to rejection. If somebody don't agree with you, you feel really bad. If you ask for an object, you ask for something, you ask for a favor, and the person might not be able to help you, you feel like they abandoned you, they rejected you, you feel so bad. It's so painful when things don't go your way, when people don't agree with you, right? And also you could feel like something's wrong with you. You just feel deeply flawed. You can't really pinpoint what's wrong with you. You just feel like something is wrong with you. You just feel different from everybody else, but you can't say what it is. It's a lingering feeling that something is wrong with you, right? You could also have difficulty being assertive. When you grow up, you probably believe that you deserve a raise, you need a raise, and you never go to your boss to explain that you deserve a raise, you need a raise. Maybe you believe that you should be promoted, and you never go and speak to your boss to say that you believe you could be the manager of this or that. You don't say anything because you doubt yourself, you don't believe fully in your talent and your abilities, and you don't say anything, right? And growing up, you would have a higher chance of being depressed and having anxiety when you don't get your emotional needs met. So that's the first thing. So second thing your parents did, or the second mistake your parents made that destroyed your growth as a child, was they decided your field of study. They decided what career you should choose. They picked your career for you. They pick what college you should go to, what university you're going to. They tell you need to do a master's in this, you need to do your doctorate after that. Or they might want you to follow in their footsteps and do exactly what they're doing. Sometimes that could work out perfectly, but sometimes it does not. You might probably not be interested in what your parents did, and you probably don't want to follow in their footsteps. They might want to live through you. Maybe they didn't achieve their goals, they didn't get the career they wanted, and they want you to get it so they could feel good about themselves, right? And then when they choose the career for you, most of the time they're choosing a high status job, like you should be a doctor, you should be a lawyer, you should be a judge. You're going to be an engineer, you're going to be a scientist. All these high status jobs, a surgeon, chemist, whatever it is, they're telling you what career to choose. And well, how does this affect you? Well, it's going to be unfulfilling for you. You're going to be uncomfortable doing something that you're not interested in. And if you're not interested in this, and you're not passionate about your career, you're going to feel unhappy. And college and university are supposed to be some of the best years of your life. And if you're studying something you're not interested in, you're really not going to enjoy that. And you're going to feel this burden, this pressure to excel and to make your parents proud, trying to live up to their standards. And that could really take a toll on your mental health, right? I believe that they could discuss with you and help you and direct you in the best path, but not to make the decision for you. Your parents, our parents, they're not going to do the practical work. They don't have to do all these studies and this exam. And when you get the job, they're not doing the job, you're doing the job, spending long hours in this job. And if you're a doctor, a lawyer, and an engineer, and all these things, that takes a long time to study and takes long hours working. You really need to be passionate about this job and love this career path, right? So that's the second mistake that parents make. that ruin your growth and destroy your growth. The third mistake that your parents made to ruin your growth, to destroy your growth as a child, is that they scolded at you constantly. They scream at you, they curse you, they shout at you almost every day. They're screaming and yelling. They break you down with hurtful words, right? They even fight in front of you. Your mother and your father, they're fighting in front of you, and they're probably using bad words. And the environment at home is just stressful. People are fighting and cursing, screaming loudly. And you're young and your brain probably don't even know how to interpret what is going on. They speak loudly to you in a degrading way. That's a big mistake. And how this affects you? Well, you just get more stubborn. Some kids, some children, they just get more stubborn. They just get worse. Or they might withdraw. They might just stop talking. Or you start yelling too. You start shouting back at them. It could go either way. You shout back at them. You yell at them. You get angry and aggressive just like them. Or you afraid of them and you withdraw, you stop talking. Either way. And how this affects you? Well, you feel embarrassed and you feel humiliated. And you could get violent. And you just don't want to cooperate. You're just uncooperative because you're being yelled at constantly. Right? That's how being yelled at constantly could affect you. Fourth mistake your parents made to that destroyed your growth, that ruined your growth as a child. They didn't teach you how to be independent. They didn't teach you how to cook. They didn't teach you how to clean. They didn't teach you about good hygiene. They didn't teach you how to dress. They didn't teach you about how to live a healthy lifestyle. They didn't teach you about good nutrition, fitness, and all these things. And yes, we learn them on our own, which is like difficult. We should have help with all of these things. And yes, school can help us, but your parents are supposed to help you with all of these things, right? And if they didn't help you, well, how this affect you? Well, you're overwhelmed when you grow up. You go off to college, university. You're going to be overwhelmed with life. You could get obese. You don't know how to cook. You're eating fast food and you're studying. You're studying, you need to study, you need to do this exam, you're busy and you're hungry and you just get fast food almost every day and then you get fat because you don't know how to cook. Maybe you live on campus or you live alone and it's just messy. You don't know how to clean and take care of yourself. You might have bad hygiene, you smell bad, and your peers and your friends, they call you names. You don't know how to take care of yourself. You don't know how to dress, you don't know how to walk properly. And it's not your fault. Nobody's checking on you. You just put your clothes on and you're off. Right? And well, how this affect you? Well, you grow up and you don't know how to be a husband. You don't know how to be a wife. You don't know how to be a mother. You don't know how to be a father properly because you didn't learn anything from your parents. And you're probably trying to learn on your own and it's difficult. You just get frustrated with your own life because you can't take care of your basic needs. And when you can't take care of your basic needs, you can't focus on your achievements, on your goals, to improve your personality, to work on your passion. You can't do that because you can't take care of your basic needs. And then you get sick often because you don't know how to take care of yourself. Right? So that's the fourth way. That's the fourth mistake that your parents made. They didn't teach you anything. They didn't teach you much. And you have to go and figure it out on your own. And then it's difficult and sometimes we make mistakes. Right? Fifth mistake our parents made that destroy our growth, that ruin our growth as a child, is they didn't talk about money. They don't talk about money with you. They don't talk about personal finances, budgeting, investing, maybe having a side hustle or a small business. They don't teach you how to save. They don't teach you how to make money. Some may say, save your money. But sometimes that's all they say, save your money. But you grow up and you realize that saving money don't make money. Right? So they don't talk about money. They don't show you how much things cost. They want to control all the finances. You don't know the cost of anything growing up. And how does this affect you? Well, you grow up and you get this rude awakening and you see how expensive things are. Then you're adults, you're getting paid, you can't manage your income. You would always have money problems. You might be financially worse than your parents, or you just stay at the same level. Right? That's how not talking about money affects us. And maybe your parents might not know about this, but maybe they could get someone who know about personal finances to help you manage your income, manage your money. Right? Maybe they could give you small amounts of money and tell you to save some, spend on this, and see how it works out, to see how you can manage. Okay, maybe your parents don't have a lot of money to give you, but if they have money to give you, sometimes they don't, and you can't practice to budget or to save or to spend your money wisely, right? The sixth mistake your parents made to destroy your growth as a child, to ruin your growth as a child, is they didn't talk about sex with you. They might tell you, don't study boys, don't study girls, and that's it. They might threaten to kick you out if you get pregnant, or if you get someone pregnant, you're a male, they will threaten you. They don't ask about, when you get older, adolescent, they don't ask about dating, they don't ask about romantic relationship you're in, they don't talk about marriage, they're not talking about kids. Growing up, they don't even meet your friends of the opposite sex. Well, how not talking about sex affect us? Well, we go to our peers trying to get information. And we go to social media and we go to porn. And if you're going to porn and your friends on social media, you're going to be misguided. You just, how this affects us, we lack information about sex. We don't know about contraceptives. We don't know about STDs and AIDS. And sometimes you feel like it cannot affect you. You will never get it, that it's not out there, and it is. And how could this affect you? Well, it's either you're gonna get pregnant early, you're gonna get some STD, or you're going to focus on your career so much, focusing on studies so much that you're like in mid-30s, 40s, and you realize that you're not married, you have no kids. And if you're a female, it's so late because men choose younger women, right? And your fertility is declining by then, by after 30. So it's like it could go either way. Parents need to talk about sex, right? So that's the sixth mistake. Seventh mistake your parents made to destroy your growth, to ruin your growth as a child, is that they didn't pay attention to your talents and your interests. They didn't listen to you when you're talking. They didn't observe you. They were always busy. Maybe you're talking to them and they're on their phone, or they're like working on the computer or something. They didn't make time for you. They didn't show interest in your hobbies. They didn't do enjoyable things with you to know what you like. Maybe they never went on a picnic with you, a trip with you, play sports with you, travel with you, go to the amusement park, go to the recreational park, do something fun with you. They didn't, because maybe they're always busy. They don't know you. They don't know what you like. They don't ask you about what your interest is. They didn't ask you about your dance class. They didn't ask you about the sports that you like. They didn't ask you about maybe you're playing an instrument. You're learning music. They didn't ask about that. And you just so love to play pan or piano, whatever it is that you love. They don't ask about it, and they don't show up at your events. They're not there when you have your important events that is important to you, right? And how this affects us? Well, they miss important moments in our life. They miss our graduation. They miss the final game. They miss you playing in the tournament. They miss your closing ceremony. They miss your concert that you're practicing for months. They miss this special assembly that you have where you're going to perform. And maybe, yes, they're busy, but maybe they could have sent your grandmother to film it and then watch it over with you, because you're gonna feel so unimportant and insignificant. That's how it affects you. You feel unimportant, you feel insignificant, and you feel shame and guilty, because you feel shame and guilty because you want support, you want them to be there for you, you want them to show love for you and to show that they're proud of you. And you feel shame because other kids' parents are there and yours are not. And you feel guilty to want to have them there. You feel guilty to want to have support and to want them to be there for important moments of your life. And shame is very difficult to feel as a child. I feel like feeling shame is so hard when you're young, right? So those are 7 mistakes that our parents made that destroyed our growth, that ruined our growth as a child. Now, not all parents make these mistakes. Some parents are aware of these emotional needs. If your parents made any of these mistakes, it doesn't mean that they don't love you. It doesn't mean that your parents are bad people. They're probably just unaware of these needs. They probably never got them when they were a child, so they don't know how to give you or how to show you these emotional needs that you have. Right? We know that parents are always like really busy with their jobs. Their jobs could be really stressful and really demanding and take long hours. We know that, we acknowledge that. Right? But I'm just making these mistakes clear to you. Maybe your parents didn't plan to have you. And then life happens and many things happen and they don't get to show you enough love. Maybe your parents are ill. Maybe someone died in the family and they're still dealing with it. Maybe your parents got divorced. Maybe your parents lost a job. And the job is stressful and very demanding, and they don't have the time and the mental space to give you these emotional needs, to listen to you, to give you attention, to show you love, to be there for you, to show up for you. Right? But I'm making these 7 mistakes clear. So if you want to be a parent, that you don't make them. And you would not be perfect. You would make some mistakes also, but it will be less. Right? I never said that your parents are bad, that your parents don't love you. Right? So continue to work on yourself and to teach yourself the many things that you need. I hope this video was helpful, and see you in the next video.